Hi, I'm kchoi. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I have a full-time job as a consultant, so I post videos about consulting, more general career stuff, education, and anything else I really feel like posting about. So if that vague description appeals to you, then please subscribe. I've posted some videos like what is consulting in general, a week or a day in my life as a consultant, and some Q&As about consulting. But today I'm going to focus on a more specific topic, which is change management consulting, which is the type of consulting that I do. So to begin, what is change management? In any organization, there is going to be change at some point, or at multiple points, really, because they do say that change is the only constant in life. And if you're in the workforce, or even as a student, in some cases, you've probably experienced some of these types of changes. It might be a new process, like a review or approval process, or product development process, or application process. It might be a new system, like a technological system or program that's replacing an old system, or it might be brand new, never been used before. A new strategy, like the way the company is interacting with its customers or the different products that the company is offering. A new organization or hierarchy, like people are getting new roles or being divided into different departments. I feel like this type of change is what comes to mind first when people think of change management, like a company is going through a merger or an acquisition, and so people are being organized differently. Some people need to be let go, but that's just one type of change and one aspect of change management. And the list goes on and on. There's so many different types of changes, like leadership changes, culture changes, etc. So that's the change part. Now the management part, that is about getting everybody in the organization on board with whatever the change is. Because if you don't get everybody on board, then that change is never going to happen. So simply, a change management consultant helps to make change stick in an organization. Now, within change management, there are multiple stages, and as a consultant, you might help the organization through all of those stages, or just one or two of those stages. It really all depends. One way that you can think of or categorize the stages is in these three parts: defining the change, implementing the change, and keeping the change going. And in each of these stages, you have a different goal, and you're usually working with different levels in the organization. When you're defining the change, your goal is really to create a roadmap for what the change is, where you are today and where you will be once the change is made. So let's take an example from the list of different changes that I went into earlier. So let's say a company has a new system, like a new technological system that they are going to be rolling out. Today, the company might be using two different tools or systems that are doing mostly the same thing, so there's a lot of duplicate work. Information is different on both of the systems, and so it slows things down. People aren't getting the right information to each other or to their customers, and it's just not working out. In the future, with this new system, people will have the same information at the same time. You won't be looking in multiple places and getting inaccurate information, and it's just going to make working with each other and working with the customer much better. Change is a journey, so with any journey or trip you're going to take, you need to map out where you're starting and where you're ending up. It's like inputting your destination into Google Maps before you get on the road. You need that information before you start your journey. Usually at this stage, you're working with leaders in the organization who are the ones that are influencing and deciding where the company will go. So another goal at this stage is to make sure that those leaders are on the same page as each other, because if they don't agree, then the rest of the company is definitely not going to agree or be on the same page. So as a consultant, you might be part of that conversation of actually strategizing and recommending what the change should be, or you might be facilitating a conversation or something with the leaders to get them on the same page. Once the leaders of an organization have defined the change, they're on the same page, they know what the ultimate goal and benefits are, then it's time to communicate that to the rest of the organization. In general, this could consist of different internal communications and training. So if we continue with the example earlier, if your company is rolling out a new system, you'll probably get some sort of announcement about it, explaining that this new system is coming, and you might get some different trainings on your calendar so that you know how to use it. This step is much easier said than done, because if there's one thing that human beings have in common, it's that we don't really like to change. At least not when someone just tells you to change, and especially not when we don't see the benefit in changing or why we should do anything differently. There are probably people who like using the old system, and they don't see a reason organization to do anything differently because it doesn't affect their work. In fact, if they were to change to a new system, that's going to affect their work more because they have to learn this new thing on top of what they're already doing. This is where so many change initiatives can fail for an organization, because even if leaders know that this new system is the right choice and it's going to help the company succeed in the future, unless they communicate that in a way that everyone in the organization can digest and understand and see how it impacts them personally, then it's just not going to happen. That's why at this step, it's not just important to tell people there's a new system coming and train them on how to use it, but you need to let them know why this new system is coming and why it's going to make their lives better, make the company better, etc. So lots of companies will probably have internal employee engagement or employee experience departments or an internal learning or training and development team, and they'll often work with consultants in this area. And the last stage or category is keeping the change going. So you launch this new system, you got people on it, learning about it. It doesn't just end there. Now, I might have chosen a bad example with this tech implementation because usually old tech will end up fading out and you are forced to move on to the new tech. But let's just say it takes a while for the old tech to fade out. There are going to be people who continue using the old tech even after they've gone through the trainings for the new tech. So you need to keep reinforcing the change. You've probably experienced working at a company and they make an announcement of some new initiative, and then after a couple weeks or a month or whatever, it just kind of fizzles out. It happens to us personally too. Like if you have a New Year's resolution and you're really good at keeping it for the first few weeks, but then you end up just going back to your old ways. Unless you keep reinforcing it and reminding yourself why you made that resolution, it's going to be really hard to keep it going. So that's why this step of keeping the change going is really important, because without it, then all the work before it is kind of pointless. I personally find change management so interesting and energizing because you're ultimately making people's work lives better. And people spend so many hours of their weeks and of their lives at work. And so it sucks if you're at work and you just don't feel like you understand or see the point of where your company is going or why they're making certain decisions. So to be able to help bring people along on that journey and just help them feel more connected at work is really fun. That's it for this video. I hope it gave you a little bit more insight into what change management is and what I do in my role. I'm sure I missed a lot of different aspects or details, so if you have anything to add or resources to share, please leave them in the comments. I love when people add helpful information because it just helps me learn and helps everyone else who's watching the video. If you made it this far into the video, please give it a like. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.